Focusing Question 1 prompts students to consider the question, how do artists explore the sea? The Strike a Pose activity integrates Tableau and creative movement to help students process the information they are observing in order to accurately articulate the central message of a text. Here, we explain the process using the module text, The Great Wave of Kanagawa. Step 1. From still image to physical movement. Since this activity requires students to think abstractly, begin by first discussing the painting. Use the Notice and Wonder chart to analyze the painting and begin discussing with your students elements of movement that they observe in the image. For example, what in the painting looks as though it is moving? How can you tell? If your students are having a hard time in the beginning, model. I see a wave and it looks like it's going up and it might crash down. Can you all see that too? What else looks like it's moving in the painting? Step 2. Activating imaginations. Once students have observed elements of movement in the painting and have communicated their guesses on what might happen next based on their observations and inferences, prompt them to connect their observations about the painting to their own physicality and experience. For this exercise, I highly recommend using calming instrumental background music that could be connected to the ocean. Music is a great way to encourage students to let go of their inhibitions, think openly, and move more freely. There are some suggestions for music you can use in the packet provided for you in this unit. Instruct students to begin Step 2 seated, either at their desks or somewhere on the floor of the classroom. If you choose to have them sit on the floor, make sure they each have at least 1 arm's length of space between them to allow for some movement. As the music plays, invite students to close their eyes, take a deep breath to clear their minds and bodies of any tension or stress. Once students are still and quiet, use prompting questions to help them connect the image of the painting and its different elements to their bodies. For example, envision the painting in your mind. What elements of movement do you remember seeing in the painting? Use your imagination and imagine that you are in one of the boats in the painting. How might you feel? How does it physically feel in your body to be in the rocking boat and seeing the large wave above you? How does the water feel on your body, your face, and your clothes as the boat continues to rock in the water? Is it warm? Is it cold? Can you taste the water? Is it salty? You can also encourage them to imagine that they are the big wave crashing into the ocean. If a wave had emotions, how do you think the wave feels about being so high in the air and about to crash down into the ocean? As students are seated and envisioning this movement in their minds, you might observe that some of them might begin to move their bodies in response to your prompting. This is why we encourage to have an arm's length of space between them and the person next to them. Some students think better when their bodies are moving, and this activity certainly encourages that. Step 3, stand up and move. Once students have spent some time imagining the movement in the painting from their seated position, prompt students to slowly stand up in place. If they are still at their desks, you can ask your students to find a place in your designated staging and movement area. Remind them to do so quietly, with their voices off, and to keep their focus on the image of the painting in their minds. For this lesson in this video, I'm going to model giving instructions as the teacher. Feel free to participate as the students receiving the instructions. Let's all stand in place in this space and close our eyes and bring our focus back in. Let's take 3 deep breaths to ground our bodies and quiet our minds. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. One more time. Inhale a big deep breath and exhale. You can choose to keep your eyes closed or you can open them. When I say move, stay in your spot and move your bodies like water. Keep your feet planted and move the rest of your body as if you are the water. Think about how water moves. Does it move slowly? Does it move fast? Think about the painting. How do you think the water in this painting moves? Now remember what elements of movement you observed in the painting. The wave rising, about to crash, the boats rocking in the water, the people in the boat trying to keep their balance. Keep your feet planted and move your body as if you are a person in one of those boats. Feel the boat rock in the ocean. How does that physically make you feel, this rocking back and forth? Do you enjoy it? Are you seasick? Can you change the expression on your face to show how you are feeling on this boat? Now, use your imagination to pretend that you are the wave that is rising out of the ocean and about to crash back down. How can you show with your bodies how the great wave of Kanagawa moves? How does water move in the ocean during a storm? How can you show that with your bodies and your faces? Step 4, explore the space. Now, still your bodies once more in 3, close your eyes in 2, and stand in actor's neutral in 1. Now close your eyes and take another deep breath in and exhale. One more, inhale and exhale. When I say action, open your eyes and move through the space as if you are an element in this painting. You can choose to be a person on one of the boats in the ocean. You can choose to move as if you are the wave itself, causing the boats to rock back and forth. Maybe you're an animal in the water that we can't see in the painting. Think about how you will move through the space and start to feel that movement in your body. Ready? Action. As students move through the space, make positive observations of the choices that you see. I see several big waves crashing on boats. I see people rocking back and forth on the boats, trying to keep steady and from falling out. I also see some ocean animals swimming around the boats and in the wave. Step 5, strike a pose. Now listen carefully. When I say pose, you're going to strike a pose as if you are an element in the painting. Maybe you're the great wave of Kanagawa. Maybe you're the mountain in the back. Maybe you're one of the people in the boat. Remember, there are no wrong choices. Trust your body. I'm going to count to 3 and say pose. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pose. I see some great mountains standing still and tall in the distance. I see a great wave ready to crash down into the ocean. I see people in boats trying to keep steady and balanced, and I see some fish swimming in the waves as it crashes into the ocean. Now, when I say release, release your pose and walk through the space again. 3, 2, 1, release, be safe with your bodies, walk mindfully through the space. You can have them strike a pose several times until they are able to do it quickly, without thinking. The goal is to empower students to trust their instincts when making creative choices. Step 6, wrap up. Now the storm is passing and the ocean is starting to calm down. The boats are slowly becoming more steady and they stop rocking. The creatures in the sea are waiting in the water and relaxing after the storm has ended. Find a space to stand calmly and quietly and bring your focus back in. We're going to stand in place in 3. Our feet will be grounded in 2. We will be still in our bodies in 1. Now let's take 3 more closing breaths. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, exhale out, breathe in, and exhale. 1 more big deep breath in, and exhale all of your energy out. Find your seats at your desks quietly and sit down. Step 7, reflection. Once students are back in their seats, ask them to reflect on their experience either aloud via class or paired discussion or independently in their journals, focusing primarily on how movement helped them to further understand the painting. Additionally, they can add the information to their notice and wonder charts. Many students may begin to naturally make more abstract connections and observations. An example of an abstract connection might be a student sharing, "I think the edges of the waves look like fingers or hands." Encourage this divergent thinking with further probing questions. Before closing the activity, ensure to ask students to review the details they gathered about the artwork to name the central message, or what this text is mainly about. Use this moment as a formative assessment of a central idea. Focusing question task 1 asks students to write a paragraph explaining how art reveals important characteristics of the sea. Build upon the strike a pose activity by providing students with the graphic organizer found in your packet. Students can use this organizer to clarify the central message of the text and gather the details they will use to craft their paragraphs. After naming the central idea, students can create a tableau using supporting details from the text and share their tableaus with the rest of the class on the main stage if desired.